In an ancient city filled with bustling markets and narrow alleys, there was an arrogant judge who ruled the court. He only cared about the wealthy and powerful, while the poor were denied their rights. Injustice became a norm in the city, and no one dared to oppose the judge for fear of his retaliation. One day, while Juha was walking through the market, he heard an old man complaining loudly. He approached him and asked about his problem. The old man sighed and said, "Juha, the judge unjustly took my land and gave it to a rich man in exchange for an expensive gift. I tried to defend my rights, but he wouldn't listen." Juha was shocked by the people's anger towards the judge's unfairness, though he wasn't surprised. He had heard many stories about the judge's corruption. He thought for a moment, then smiled mischievously and said, "I will find a way to restore your rights." Juha decided to teach the judge a lesson in his own clever way. He went to the market, bought a bag of fake gold, and then went to the court. When he arrived, he stood before the judge and said confidently, "Your Honor, I have come to you with a serious problem, and only you can solve it." The judge looked at him with interest and asked, "And what is your problem, Juha?" Juha took out the bag of fake gold and whispered, "I have a great treasure, but I fear it will be stolen. I need a safe place to keep it until I can invest it later." Greed flashed in the judge's eyes as he saw the bag filled with gold. He asked eagerly, "And where do you want to keep it?" Juha smirked and said, "I want to leave it with you, Your Honor, because you are a man of justice and integrity." "There is no safer place than your court." The judge quickly agreed and took the bag from Juha, placing it in his private safe, already thinking of a way to claim it later. Juha thanked the judge and left the court. A few days later, Juha returned to the court, wearing torn clothes and looking miserable. He entered the courtroom and said in a weak voice, "Your Honor, I have lost all my money. The only thing I have left is the treasure I entrusted to you. Please, return it to me." The judge's face changed, and he stammered. He had no intention of returning the treasure, but he couldn't admit it openly. So, he smirked and said, "What treasure are you talking about? You never left anything with me." Juha looked shocked and said, "But I handed it to you with my own hands in front of witnesses." The judge laughed mockingly and said, "If you have witnesses, bring them." Juha looked around and said, "Of course, I have witnesses. They are outside, waiting for your permission to enter." The judge ordered the guards to bring in the witnesses, but he was shocked when the city's wealthy merchants entered the courtroom. These merchants had always believed the judge was honest, but now they started to doubt him. One of the merchants stepped forward and said to the judge, "If Juha is lying, why did you come to us a few days ago asking for our help to invest that gold?" The judge's face turned red, realizing he had fallen into Juha's trap. He turned to Juha and said, I remember now. Here is your bag, I was only joking with you." Juha took the bag, opened it in front of everyone, and pulled out a gold coin. He broke it in half, revealing that the gold was fake. Juha laughed loudly and said, "Your Honor, if you were honest, why did you try to steal my gold? And now, if you lied about this case, who knows how many others you have wronged before?" People started whispering, and soon the whole city knew what had happened. The judge felt ashamed and was forced to resign after losing everyone's trust. Juha walked out of the court, surrounded by the cheering townspeople, and the old man finally got his land back after the new judge reinstated his rights. As for Juha, he returned home, laughing. When his donkey brayed as if asking why he was so amused, Juha said, "Sometimes, a man doesn't need strength to win, only intelligence." And so, justice was restored to the city, and the people learned that wit and wisdom could always defeat arrogance and corruption.